Hello everybody, thank you very much for joining me today for another Twilight Zone video in my Twilight Zone review series, where I rank every episode of the original Twilight Zone from my least favorite to my favorite. Today I'm going to be talking about number 100 on the list, I Sing the Body Electric, written by Ray Bradbury and directed by William F. Claxton and James Sheldon. This is a season 3 episode of the show, and as always there will be episode spoilers. So we're into the top 100. Only 100 more Twilight Zone episodes to talk about here. We're getting there. So while I don't think I Sing the Body Electric is a perfect episode of the show, it is interesting for a couple reasons. The first is that it was the only episode written by legendary writer Ray Bradbury. Another reason is because there were two directors for this episode. I think there were some production issues with this one. But overall, I think somehow this episode still mostly works, with a few little things here or there that I didn't care much for. It's also unusual because it's more of a melodrama than anything else, which is kind of unusual for the Twilight Zone. So the premise of I Sing the Body Electric is that there's a man and he just lost his wife, and his 3 children are having a hard time getting over it. He's having a hard time relating to them and raising them. So he decides he's going to order a robot grandmother to help him raise the children. Now, 2 of the children love this idea. They're receptive right away. But one of the girls, Anne, has a hard time accepting this robot replacing her mother. David White as the father is solid, and Josephine Hutchinson as the grandmother are fine. But the real standout is Veronica Cartwright as Anne. I thought she gave a really solid performance. Now, at this point, the episode starts out kind of with this introduction that I described, and then we go to this creepy scene in the first part of the episode where the children go to a factory to actually pick out what the grandmother will look like, her traits, things like this. This was a well done and interesting scene, but I have to say it doesn't really fit with the kind of melodramatic tone of the rest of the episode. It feels like it belongs in a different, like, horror themed episode or something. So although the scene was well put together, it does feel a bit strange. So the episode continues, and this girl Anne still can't accept this grandmother. And I really do feel bad about this whole situation, and that way I think the episode succeeds. So eventually she runs out in front of a car, but the robot grandmother predictably saves her. The robot gets hit in the process, but when Anne sees that she basically can't be hurt, that she's indestructible, this causes her to open up and share all her feelings, and it seems like Anne will turn out okay. Then there's a final scene where the children are now grown up. I thought the time jump actually worked pretty well here, and the grandmother explains she's got to leave now because her job is done and she's going to go help another family, which I thought was very interesting and kind of touching. Maybe I'm just getting more sentimental as time goes by, but like I said, despite some problems in this episode that I kind of went through, this episode just worked for me. I thought it was a good, solid Twilight Zone episode. It's kind of a shame we never got any more Ray Bradbury written episodes on the Twilight Zone. It would have been interesting to see if they could have done a better job, or maybe if they would have turned out even worse. But overall, I just think I Sing the Body Electric is, kind of a slightly above average episode that stands out and that I enjoyed for the most part. So that's why it ranks at number 100 on the list. As always, feel free to leave me a comment on this episode if you liked it or not. Thanks for your support, and thanks for watching.